Greetings and greetings to all. Thank you for joining us again in this Rifle Miss Spiritual Quest. My name is Master Abdullah Ngom. And today's topic is about God, the existence of God. And when we say God, we're not talking about the mythical god and goddesses that we read about. God and goddesses whom their lives not any less dramatic than humans. The gods that involve in wars, conflicts of any kind, immorality, sexual conduct that even wicked modern generation would condemn. It's not the mythical God we're talking about. Also, we're not talking about human-made gods. Gods that are made out of mud or carved out of wood by human hands, which is a basic logical understanding that one who made a god with his own hands is more capable than the god itself. So we're not talking about these gods. We talk about God who's been a doubt within the human heart and a great debate through the human intellect throughout the ages. The architect of the universe, the Alpha and Omega, the creator of humankind. This is the God we're talking about. And what we're going to do, we're going to go into the five elements on those, with the seven senses. This God cannot be confirmed through the six senses because the existence of this God surpasses what the six senses can confirm. It's beyond his capacity. Every existence have a purpose for being, and no existence can manifest beyond their capacity. For instance, if you got all the birds, all the flying birds on the world, if they join force as one, try to build a flying machine just because they know how to fly. The capability of manifesting and the capacity of the knowing how will be their limitation. Because building a flying machine surpasses the purpose of which birds were created to manifest in life. Even though they know how to fly, they were not able to build a flying machine. On the other hand, humans who do not know how to fly, based on the capacity of manifesting, they were able to build a flying machine based on their capability of doing and their capacity of knowing how. Because human purpose surpasses the capacity of bird purposes on board. Every creation have a purpose for being, and no creation can manifest beyond their purpose. It is the same metaphor. If all humankind join force as one body, join mind, that they still won't have the capacity to fully know the magnitude in which God can manifest, or the capacity in which God can manifest. Above all, how God come to be is beyond the comprehensive of the human spirit to grasp. Science is the most reliable institution in society because it believes in fact. The sixth sense level of intellect to confirm reality. But there are many existence that confirmed by science to be fact, but yet science have not able to confirm or explain how they come to be. It confirmed that they existent, but yet to confirm how they come to existence. There are many, countless, and the fingerprint, human fingerprint, is one of them. Science have proven that every human being have their own fingerprint, design different from everyone else. With all the billions of people from the time till now, with every human being have his own design, different from everyone else, and as small as the thumb is, this is a mind-boggling when you think about it on a scientific point of view. Mind-boggling when you think about it on the logical or spiritual point of view. Science have confirmed the reality, but yet unable to confirm how the reality come about. Not just the fingerprint, the soul and spirit that keep one alive. The six senses confirm their existence, but how they come about, that is yet to be understood. That surpasses beyond the six senses. Because when one dies, everything about the physical self remains. Nothing leaves the body. The brain, the heart, every organ, bone, the whole persona. Nothing leaves, remain there, but the person is dead. What left the body is the soul and the spirit. Reality proves that they exist, because if they leave the body, the person will be pronounced dead. This is a fact. We know they exist, but we yet to know how they exist or when they leave the body, where they go, because that is beyond the capacity of the six senses to confirm. So the six senses, which is the level of intellect, have its capacity. The intellect cannot manifest beyond its capacity. That's what the seven senses come to play. Seven senses that manifest in the realm of spirituality, beyond logic. Beyond logic, what you can explain, logically explain. There are things that surpass that. That's why intellect values sight over common sense. They value fact. They value sight over common sense. What can be confirmed by the six senses? But we know reality is more than what we can confirm. That's where the seven senses come to make one aware of that reality. There are many existing that surpasses the six senses to confirm. And that's where science, our most reliable institution, struggle with many elements. There's a scientific, whether it's a myth or theory or claim reality, the notion that we use 10%, human use 10% of the brain capacity. But this cannot be scientific fact. Because it's not possible for 10% to have accurate assessment on 100%. That's basic logic. 10% cannot have accurate assessment on 100% because 100% is beyond its capacity. 100% is beyond the capacity of 10% to have accurate assessment on. If we accessed 100% of our brain capacity, just then we will have the credibility on how much is or being used, but not the other way around. If they call it scientific fact, that cannot be scientific fact. It's the same limitation. It's the limitation all who deny the existence of this God, we bow to reveal. Whether it's an individual or system or institution. Those who deny it or try to disprove it, they all manifest within the six senses, which cannot confirm the God, the architect of this universe. That's the limitation of the sixth sense, who cannot even suited to confirm many elements that within our own self. Because of its limitation, the six senses, the human intellect, is a sense of confirmation. How can that is expected to confirm what the five senses cannot detect. It's not logical. It's not logical. You can't see God. You can't hear God. You can't feel God. You cannot detect God with any of the senses that the sixth sense can confirm. So God is beyond the perimeter, beyond the capacity of what the sixth sense can confirm. Just as many indubitable elements that the sixth sense cannot confirm. That's why we're going to go through this journey with the seven senses. When you access the seven senses, everything changes. That's where you see everything as they are. Not what they seem to be or made out to be, but as they truly are. The true from the lies, the lie from the true. Easily distinguished. The good, the bad, the ugly, friend and foe, all of it. You are no longer operating with it, the independable sense. You will operate with the seven senses that make you aware of things. We all access these senses often without even realizing it. Someone can upset at you or you upset at someone. They can feel that. You don't have to say anything. You can be even 1,000 miles away. You can feel it. These are senses that can be accessed. But it's neglected, not being nurtured because of intellectualism. We depend so much on our intellect. We operate most often with our senses. Six senses. We trap there. Most of us have trapped in our six senses. Being able to move to the higher level of awareness, where you can be aware and feel someone else's misery. If you harm someone, you will know you harm them. Not saying I didn't know or I didn't meant it. No, you will know. And knowing it can stop you from repeating it. The seven senses, the sense of awareness. That's where you're going to aware the existence of God. That the heart, the human soul, cannot doubt it. This is the God we're going to talk about today in this topic. This God of humankind is misunderstood, misinterpreted, and misused. I see God spoke to me in my prison cell. God spoke to me on the marketplace. God spoke to me over here, over there. This is a lack of understanding of this true God. This God have better things to do than popping out in people's showers or in the prison cell to speak to them. And ignore, that will violate morality. That will violate his divinity. Speak to people individually in the matter that has nothing to do with the situation of the world, and ignore not providing the solution of this world that the devil seems to have under his control. That violates his divinity. All these people who say God spoke to them, they die this lack of understanding of the human spirit or being spoken by the devil himself. Not the true God. When God speaks to anyone, it will be for the greater good of the whole humanity. God does not speak on personal matters, not the God of humanity. That's why, because of this, the lack of understanding, things are even humans have the nerve to call themselves God. The God of this universe is not a human, and no human is this God. You go to the five elements. Human claim to be God. you see that in all cultures. One of the experiences I have was in New York City, 1986, in Harlem, 125th Street. I had a show, a fashion show that I was rehearsing for, and I went to meet some friend, and we have to go to rehearse together. And when we come to the library of the building, there were some flyers that God in person, and it will answer your question. I said, okay. I've been denouncing God all these years. I want to see God just to give up my mind. Now they say God is here in this building. I didn't believe in it for a second, but for out of curiosity, I just wanted to know what this is all about. Then I went. They were on the 5th floor, and I went to the 5th floor, and coming out of the elevator, first they check my coat pockets. There were people just standing, two guys, just big like bodybuilders, checking people when they get out of the elevator. I couldn't help to start being sarcastic with them. I said, why are you searching people? Are you afraid someone's going to kill your God? And one of the guys said, sorry sir, we're just doing our job. I said, anyway, let me go face this guy. Let me see who this God is. Then they emptied my pocket. Then I went to the conference room. I could not believe my eyes. The room was full with people, and people lining up on the side wall, waiting for question, to ask this man question, who claimed to be God. And I said, wow. I stood there for 10 minutes listening to this guy answering question. I was about to leave. I said, no, I have come this far. I have to wait for my turn. I got on the line. Half an hour later, there was my turn facing this guy. He's a black guy and with a expensive suit. They sound so ridiculous. First thing I said, are you God? How old are you? He said, well, 59. I said, where were you before then? And the man just staring at me and start recollecting his thought. I know this type of people, because if he start talking, these are people who will answer any question you throw at them. No matter how ridiculous the answer might seem or sound, they like those people who seem to have answer for everything. I know if he start talking, I will not have my chance to say anything else. I said, well, don't tell me you're the God of this universe, the creator of this universe. Because, and if you're that God, why people be searched when they come into the conference? You're afraid somebody's going to shoot you or something? And I said, why are you selling, if you're this God, why are you selling your audio cassette for $5 and your video cassette for $25? If you're this God, what you need that money for? And he said, you have to let me speak, all about you have to leave the room. Then I was furious. When he threatened to throw me out of the room, I said, well, if you're this God, you're a fraud. How can you be this God? And he yelled out, security, get this man out of the room. And that was I will not fight him. I was very furious. And I yelled at him, someday you're going to meet the real God. And you're going to have a lot of problems. You have got a lot of explaining to do. And when I left the room, when I got thrown out of the room, of course, I said, I didn't feel very bad for God for being thrown out, but I feel bad about the people who follow this guy, this man who claimed to be God. These people, they are irresponsible as the man himself. Because if one claims to be God, and you follow him, claim to be the God of this universe, and you follow that man, you are irresponsible as the man himself. These are the category, the neutral mindset we will talk about in the previous video. Who will follow anybody? Who will follow anybody who they can unload their burden on them? This man looks so silly, stand on stage with his $1,000 suit, claim to be God. I said to myself, if this man was the true God, he deserved to be whipped. He deserved to be knocked out. Because standing here with his expensive suit, okay, advertising his presence in this world that the devil seems to have control, which attract no more than people full of people in one room, and ignore all the problems that are going on in the world, that claim to be God. That God would need to be knocked, would need to be beat up. I know of course, I didn't believe that man was a God for a second. But if he was the true God, he would not earn my respect. Never, ever. Because come to this world, ignoring all the problems that you can fix, and standing, claiming to be God, and selling your audio cassette to $5 and audio tape for $25. If you this God, what you need that money for? I said, what the hell is wrong with people? People who follow these imposters. But guess what? They're all part of the devil's show to discredit the true God. Give human the nerve to stand up, to call themselves God. The God of the architect of this universe. This God we talk about is the God who creates everything that human did not create and cannot create. The only creator that there is. The Alpha and the Omega. That's what it means, the beginning and the end. And if your intellect popping your question where it began, where it come from, that is beyond the capacity of the intellect to grasp. Is beyond. But his existence is confirmed, clearly confirmed, with your soul to the level of the seven senses, which is beyond the level of the six senses that confirm. The sixth sense only confirms. This is a higher level of enlightenment. The soul, the source of life. The purity of the soul. That's the ultimate enlightenment. When you operate within the seven senses, you will see your connection. Your soul will feel the life of every single life in existence. That's where you come from God. That's where you feel God. That's where you can talk to God. That's where you can hear God. Not through the intellect. The human intellect full with flaw. We know, all of us know, we are an invisible doubt. There are times, everyone experiences it, sometimes on a regular basis. Moment that you thought you were so right. Almost 100% bet your life on that you are right. But the later reality proved that you were dead wrong. That happened to us on a regular basis. So the intellect is not suited to authenticate it, what is beyond its capacity. It's not reliable. It's not reliable instrument to authenticate beyond physicality. That's why all the elements, all the spiritual elements within ourselves, within our own self, and our surrounding, that we know they exist beyond any reasonable doubt. The sixth sense cannot confirm how they come to be or how they manifest. We just know that they exist. Because their way of manifestation surpasses the capacity of the senses to confirm. So if you want to confirm God through your intellect capacity, you have a problem. Because your intellect capacity have limitation and is not reliable. All who deny God dismiss God or doubting God or debating about His existence, whether He exists or not, all operate on the level of intellect, the six senses. Where God cannot be confirmed. Because the existence of God surpasses what the sixth sense can confirm. You can only be aware of His existence through the seven senses. The mind is the six senses that confirm. The soul is the seven senses that are aware of the existence. That's where you will be aware of the existence of God. That's where your soul confirms the existence of God beyond any reasonable doubt, but not through your mind. The mind is not suited for that. God is far beyond His capacity. Something is a personal journey. One can tell you about God, how God manifests, think all about God. But God is someone you connect with through here. It's a personal. No one can connect you with God. One can guide you for you to walk the journey. It's a personal journey. Because your heart is yours alone. Even identical twins, they don't say they might look alike, but they're not the same. They think differently, you don't feel differently. It's a personal journey. That's where you realize the existence of God. And no one can articulate it. One can articulate for you to understand the concept. But to the realization of it, you alone have to do it on your own by yourself. It's something that is confirmed. And when it's confirmed, there is a God. If you close your eyes, stop your mind, and allow your heart to guide you to it, it will confirm it beyond any reasonable doubt. Because all the existence within this universe that human did not create or cannot create did not appear by themselves and by coincidence or by the randomness of nature. Is a divine creator who created them all. Does the human body is too complex? Does the system of the human body is too complex to come by chance? Or by the randomness of nature, or through evolution of life? The chance is not even 1, is 0. The chance for us evolve through evolution is the chance are 0. There's no possibility. If you understand how the human body functions to begin with, there's no possibility. There's not one possibility. It's 0. How the DNA works. Scientists have already proven all this. We know a lot about the human body based on science. And if you understand how it functions, the chance for that to come through evolution, the chance is 0. It's not possible. How can a system as so complex to exist through evolution of nature? The chance of that are 0. You don't even have to go deep, just to take the three elements. The mind, the heart, and the body. With the body, soul, and spirit, the three elements. The body, the physical body, is the vessel. The spirit, as we know as the mind, is the source of thoughts that produce thoughts. Reside in the brain. The brain is the flesh of the spirit, the source of thoughts. And the heart is the source, that is what harbor the soul, the source of life. Because the life exists within the heart. When your heart starts beating, you will be pronounced dead. When the brain start functioning, you will be brain dead. You can be in coma and still alive. As long as the heart is still beating, you will be alive. Your brain can stop from functioning, be in coma, and you're still alive. That means this is the source of thought, this is the source of life. And each one of them functions its own purpose. For that to come through randomness of nature or to evolution of any kind, the chances are zero. Zero. The way in which the God of this universe creates surpasses what a human being can ever grasp. We're yet to grasp the reality of His creation. When scientists go to their laboratory to replicate life, that's easy done. This demonic jinn, these demonic liars, that's a child play to them. If you understand how we talk about, this demon, that's a child play to them. All these things we brag about, all this technology, all these things we see so fascinating, that is a child play to them. That's how the children can even clone. And when you go to the five men, it's well elaborated who are they and how they function, or where they come from and where they were. With their present can be confirmed through the seven senses. You feel the present. They're behind all the chaos and confusion of humanity. They're behind all of it. Humankind they're not just guinea pig, but for them, it's like a show. It's like entertainment to them. The suffering and all the foolishness, and not just that, they control just about everything. Even silly as a game, they can really control all of it. Who's gonna win the game and who's gonna be the star of the? They control all of it. Humans are just almost puppets for the entertainment, to entertain these demonic lies. When you access the seven senses, everything changes. They can clone anything, but they cannot create nothing. Only God can. Creation in its true form, in its true definition. Creation based on the five elements. Creation is bringing existence into being without the input of any element that's already existed. And no one can but God. Human build and make things are an element that's already created by God. Human have built and can make a lot of things, but there's not one thing that human can create of. Not one thing in existence. Not one thing in this world that human can create. One thing. But can make a bunch of things. Often things that is not needed. Only God. They say in the scripture, God made human out of mud and breathe breath, life into it, human become a living soul. That is a lie. That is not true. The human body, the human flesh are composed with elements that has nothing to do with the dust of the earth that said human originated from. Nothing whatsoever. Human body is composed with flesh, bone, and blood, and many other elements that has no connection with the dust of the earth whatsoever. None. Trees and grass would are more likely to be created from the dust of the earth, but they weren't. They weren't created from the dust of the earth. God created them. The God that created life is not a potter. If human were created from the dust of the earth, human would be a walking clay. The God of humankind does not make or build, He creates. And creation is bring an existence into being without the existence of any element that already existed. That's the true definition of creation. And only God can. When God said to be, it will be. God said no longer be, it will no longer be. That's what creation is. Only God can. That's why the way of this God manifests is beyond the comprehensive of the human spirit to grasp. The human intellect can only confirm what is already made. But how is made? That surpasses the capacity of the human intellect. That surpasses the capacity of the six senses. You can only know their purposes through the seven senses that exist within your soul. The sixth senses is the mind, which is not reliable, as we all know. That's the sixth senses. It's not dependable, not reliable, because we all have experienced moment that we almost 100% sure that we are right, and later we realize how wrong we were. Every one of us have experienced this moment. Reality telling us this is not reliable. You have created many conflicts, have created many horrible things. Why are we ignoring this? We operate on the six senses. But when you tap into the seven senses, everything changes. When you tap into the seven senses that exist within us all, you will no longer doubt the existence of God. You will no longer debate the existence of God. It confirms the existence of God. Humankind are on a baby step for having a greater understanding about life itself. On a baby step. Because we yet to understand all the elements exist within our own selves. Started with what keeps us alive. Because we all know you live, you die. So when you die, what kept you alive? And when you die, what left the body when you die? It's still a great debate and mystery that exists within our own self. Not yet we come to conclusion, for fact, for proof. So as you can see, but yet we want to know the God who created them. We want to see the God. We want to talk to the God. We want the God to say, I'm here. Why we cannot even understand element within our own self, but we want to understand and see the God who created them. That's the foolishness of the intellect, who yearning for confirmations on everything, even things that cannot be confirmed, or even things that surpass the capacity of the sixth sense to confirm. Every creation has a limitation. And no creation can manifest beyond the capacity in which they were created to manifest. Any systems or individuals that deny the existence of God, the architect of this universe. Go to the five elements. You'll doubt no more. You'll doubt no more. I'm one of them. I'm here to testify to that. I used to hate the story about God. I used to hate it. God this, God that, God this, God mighty. I used to hate it. But something happened. This happened, the five elements. Have guided me out of that darkness that I tried so long, to get out of. Nothing made sense. And if this can guide me out, I have no doubt, because I was in the darkest stage. I think many weren't even close to be there. Got me out. That's why I believe we are an irreducible doubt. If it got me out, it can get anybody out. From the question that eat you alive within, the reality that make no sense, and question on a regular basis, what is the purpose of all this? This change that mindset and provide me clarity where I'm more comfortable about life than never before. There are times I didn't want to live in this world no more. I thought I was in the wrong world. But this, the five elements, have made me believe, made me realize, yes, I'm in the right world. Only if I know my purpose. When you know your purpose, you know you're in the right world. Yeah, make me realize I'm in the right world. And I want to make right as much as I can before my time runs out. Because it's one-time deal. You live one life, that's all you got. You're not coming back here. Reincarnation or resurrection, all those things is a lack of understanding. You have one world, one life, one shot deal. So, you're going to make the best out of it. This is what it will guide you to do and realize. You come from one world, which is the womb. Into this world, the physical world. Then you're going to move on to the spiritual world. It's a three stage. You're not coming back here. No through reincarnation or resurrection of any kind. All those phenomena are lack of understanding. It's not what it seemed to be or what they made out to be. resurrection, reincarnation. Reincarnation for what purpose? If you come as a reincarnation, you're going to come back as a baby. Start from ground zero, be taken care of. Go into the same process as you were. Struggle and going through all the elements. Without the recollection, the information that you were here, or where you went, and why you back. If you don't have all those information, what is the purpose of coming back? If you come back with all the previous memories. Who you were, what you were doing, who was your wife or husband, family, or so on and so forth. And where you went after you died, what happened there, and what is the reason, what is the purpose you are sent back. If you came back with all those information, then we can say, well, resurrection, we can say that reincarnation has purpose. But you are incarnated without having none of the information in that time. What is the purpose? Go to the 5 elements. It will explain you better. That phenomena we call reincarnation. Because the time will not permit us for me to go that in depth. And as we said, resurrection, the God of humanity, the God that creates soul, will not resurrect anybody, any human being in this world when the person is already dead. I had the opportunity to travel many parts of the world on my spiritual quest. But you see this phenomena, people resurrected dead. This is nothing more, these demonic liars playing their devilish game as an entertainment. Nothing but that. And the biggest myth, is the religious story of the resurrection of Christ. That there's no truth in that whatsoever. This is religion propaganda. Christ was not resurrected. Because the God of humanity will not resurrect anyone for any reason. Christ was resurrected. On which purpose? Why Christ would be resurrected? Now, if Christ was God, you're telling me God died and resurrected itself? That, I don't think anyone can even tell that to 5 years old. We'll call you a liar, because that's not possible. God dead and resurrected itself. God got crucified, killed by his own creation, and resurrect itself, then flee back to heaven. And when he resurrected itself, he only went to those who followed him. God should have known better. If he was God, he should go to the Pharisees who propagated to be crucified. Then move on to the Roman who ordered his crucifixion, to be crucified. Then tell them, here am I, I'm back, I'm God. They will drop on their knees. And Christianity will be the only religion. The religion of Christ will be the only religion, because that will be undoubtable that there is a God. You're crucified and come back, dead and come back, talking to those who crucified him. That would be it. The debate of God, doubted about God, fighting for God or over God, that would end right there. All the crime done by religion will never happen. That was set the record straight, right there from the get-go. God should have known that. If Christ was God, he should have known that, but that didn't happen, he did it. Only those who saw him was his followers, because they could not accept their leader be humiliated and crucified to death. So all these are made up stories. Christ was not resurrected. God will not resurrect anybody for any reason. And if Christ was resurrected by God, well, God should have known better too. You can tell him, go back. Tell them you back. You're my son, I'll send you. You're my Messiah. You're not coming back till the work is done. And if Christ went back to the Pharisee and the Roman, the crucifixion will not be only in the religious scripture, will be in all document. It will be in the Roman history. It will be in any cultures, part of the history. But you only see that in the scripture. And they're not even consistent with it, with the story. You go Mark, Luke, Mark, Matthew, they all have different account of the resurrection. They're all different. They all come with the contradictory. Religious made up stories. Christ being resurrected. Christ was not resurrected. The God of humanity will resurrect anybody. When you die, it's a one-shot deal. You die, you die. You're dead. You're done. You're not coming back in this world. Another evidence of that, read the Egyptian, the Book of the Dead. Well, the pharaohs, they believe that when you die, that's why they used to mummify their dead, so that they can go to another world, mummified it to last forever, for many years to come. Buried with their possession that would accommodate the body to another world. But reality have proven they were dead wrong. Because their mummified body and their possession is now exposed on museum for people as a show for people to watch. So wherever they are, if they thought reality have proved them, they were dead wrong. Nobody lives in this world. You die, you're done. You go to any graveyard, you'll find bone still there. The person is dead before it's buried. It's cremated. Wherever they left in the jaw is still there. Nobody lives in this world. It's a one-shot deal. Believe it or not, and try to make the best out of it. You're not coming back here. And if you messed it up, you have a big problem. All those pharaohs thought that their wealth can accommodate them to where they're going. They truly believe that. They truly believe that. Read the Book of the Dead. They truly believe it. That's why all who believe or try to believe this nonsense religious story, they're not reading history. They're not understanding history, because history has provided us many elements that can enlighten one to be not a victim of this religious nonsense. Reality have provided us beyond invisible doubt. Mummified body display in museum as an exhibition. That's a reality. But they didn't thought of that. They were dead wrong. Their religion that made them believe that religion was not true, have lied to them, have deceived them. That's what reality says. The truth that cannot be doubted. So watch out the religion you believe in before you become victim like them. When you leave, you die. That's it. You don't go back to your mama's womb. When you come out of this world, you're not going back to your mama's womb. You live this life. After this life, you're dead. You go another realm. You're not coming back here. All this thing coming back, all this thing is a phenomenon, is misunderstanding phenomena. Well explained here. Go to the 5 elements. You will understand it better. Well elaborated. Google it. Humankind has been being deceived from the beginning, and reality keep providing us solid evidence, and we keep ignoring reality. How many generations have come taught that Christ will come back in their time? Many generations. That happened? Never happened. They're still beating that drum, that Christ is coming back. And yet every generation from that point, and even in the scripture, they said, well, it's just a couple of generations to come. But that's 2,000 years ago. Many generations have come and passed. Every generation thought that Christ will come back in their time. Never happened. Reality contradicts what is written. But yet we're still glowing on what is written, just because it is written, ignoring reality. Was the most reliable in all things. Whatever reality testify, God Himself can change it. God Himself can change it. And reality has been giving us all kind of information, and we keep ignoring them. By these nonsense belief systems. We're going to leave here till next time. And if you want more elaboration on the existence of God, go to the 5 elements. It's well elaborated there, better than I can explain here. As well as many information. I'm doing my best and hope you understand it. But I'm sure you can better understand them going to the source itself. Again, I think we're going to leave it here till next time. And I always be well, and God bless. Thank you for tuning in.